Toy Story 4 launched. Escape from the Megaverse game revealed. This is Spinal Tap to premiere at PinFest in Melbourne in September.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Joosten. I'm the editor of Pinball magazine, and I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Martin Hebb, and I'm the editor of Pinball News, and we are here, as we are every month, to look back on all the events in the pinball world from the previous month, which in this case means what happened in June 2022.
Right, and it's been a exciting month, but also a very slow month.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It kind of had something, there was a reveal we knew was going to happen, but we didn't know when exactly it was going to happen, but it did. And we have, as you will have heard from our headlines, an unexpected reveal, and that was kind of about it. The rest of it was fairly slow, but there is plenty to keep us interested, though. So we'll go through everything that was worth reporting on in over the next few minutes. Well, quite a lot of minutes, I'd imagine. At long last, we've been talking about when it's going to be revealed. The biggest unkept secret in the industry, but
not entirely true, because there was actually a little bit of... okay, so we're talking about... Everybody was expecting Jersey Jack Pinball to announce Toy Story.
Yes.
And then it turned out to be Toy Story 4.
Indeed, yeah. So entirely based on just the fourth of the movies, not the first three, but obviously there's a huge amount of crossover. The characters are largely the same. The focus is different on Toy Story 4, and there's some extra characters introduced in that particular version of the franchise.
Right.
But we don't know quite why it was Toy Story 4 as opposed to the first three. I don't think I'm giving anything away. This license was signed a long time ago, which would have been before Toy Story 4 even came out. So I don't think then it would have been for Toy Story 4. I think it would have been for the first three movies as a package. But these are corporate marketing experts, and the game was obviously came out later than we anticipated. And I believe, and I've got no evidence for it, but I've been told it a few times, that the original design for Toy Story, because the game was delayed, that ended up being modified into Willy Wonka. And the Toy Story 4 design that we've got from Pat Lawler now is a new design, which was created when the license became Toy Story 4 rather than the first three. But why it was delayed, we don't know. But as I said, it's a Pat Lawler design, John Yelsey and Disney artwork, and interestingly, there's a lot of interesting factors about this game actually. The sounds are not by anyone that we're familiar with from the industry so far. It's not a David Teal job, and it's not Chris Grannon or anything like that. It's done by a company called Unlock Audio, who produce a lot of audio for video games.
Okay.
And the other most interesting thing, the other interesting aspect about it is that there are only two editions of this. Now, there's only a collector's edition, which will be limited to 1,000 machines, and there is a limited edition, which is limited to 5,000 machines.
Right.
So there is no standard edition at all, which is an unlimited version. So there will only ever be a maximum, unless they bring out another edition, which is not unknown. There'll only be a maximum of 6,000 Toy Story 4 machines, 1,000 collector editions, 5,000 limited editions.
Right. So, of course, Jersey Jack tends to have a setting the tone when it comes to price increases, although that's a negative way to say it, but their games usually are in the for the more wealthier pinball enthusiasts. Let's call it that.
They do push the boundaries. Yes.
So and they did again this time with the collector's edition costing $15,000, and the limited edition games going for $12,000. Which, sorry, I have an eBay auction ending, so I'm doing two things at the same time. Why don't you tell the people?
Yes, okay, I'll take over while you go and bid on your Transline on eBay. Yes, so as Jonathan said, $15,000 for the 1,000 collector's edition machines, and of course they sold out almost immediately upon announcement, which was at midday Central Time. I think it was Eastern Time. Maybe it was Eastern Time. In the US on the 14th of June. So, of those 1,000, there were 900 which were allocated to distributors, and 100 which were direct sales through the Jersey Jack Pinball website. Now, I think anybody who either hesitated over buying one of the 100 ones on the website or had any kind of problems processing their payment would have missed out. So those sold out almost immediately. 900 went to distributors. I heard various stories about whether people who had pre-ordered through their distributors and had paid or had been allocated a machine, once they found out it was a Toy Story 4 game, and maybe when they saw what was or wasn't on the playfield, might have backed out of that purchase. And there were some distributors who were ringing around trying to find people who would be interested in picking up a collector's edition machine. But I think that was a very, very short-lived event, and all 1,000 are allocated now, and were allocated very, very quickly, really, after the announcement. And then there's the 5,000 limited edition machines. I don't think they've sold out.
No, actually,
those you should be able to get one.
I did receive a text from Jack the day after the reveal of the game, indicating that the company received orders for over $30 million worth of Toy Story games. And if you start doing the math on that, well, that's 15 million for the collector's editions, which leaves another 15,000, which sort of equals to, it actually equals to 1,250 limited edition machines. So that's by far
out of the 5,000.
Not the 5,000 that they are allowed to make. So if you're looking for a Toy Story 4 limited edition game, that shouldn't be a problem.
No, and one of the other interesting features of this launch was that they did have a large number of limited edition machines pre-made and shipped or about to ship to distributors and locations.
Yes.
So the very next day, I think, it may even been the same day, but certainly the very next day they appeared in a number of locations.
Yeah, even internationally.
Yes, and I think that I can never remember exactly how you pronounce the place, but I want to say Entertainium, but it's not. It's the one that used to be level 257 in Schaumburg in Illinois. Right. They had it either the same day or the next day, and people were streaming gameplay videos from there. So we said, I think, last month's PINcast that people weren't able to tour the Jersey Jack Pinball factory because they had Toy Story on the line. We reckon that probably about 8 weeks before the launch, they've been producing limited edition games. Now, the collector edition games aren't going to be available or aren't going to be built until Jersey Jack Pinball says the fall, so the autumn of this year. No exact definition of when that is, but it may be that they're going to make all the limited edition orders that they got up until that point, then do the collector edition, and then go back and do some more limited edition games after that.
Right.
We don't.
Interestingly,
you know exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
Interestingly, no, I was going to say, but we don't know exactly when they're going to be starting on the collector edition games.
No,
but other than it's going to be in the autumn.
Right.
And autumn is, of course, 3 months long, so it could be any point between September, October, November.
Yeah. Now you made an interesting calculation that if they would make or build 50 games a week, that's 100 weeks of orders if all sold. But so that's basically 2 years. But based on the sales numbers of the first day, what if they are not all sold? That means other designers have to hurry up their game and get it on the line because if the game doesn't sell all 5,000 limited editions, that basically means someone else is up earlier than expected.
Well, I'm not sure if it's earlier. I think it's been mooted in the past that Jersey Jet Pinball will announce 2 games this year.
Right.
American Pinball has done the same thing and suggested that. So if they produced or released or announced another game just prior to the holiday season, that could fit in well with their production schedule. But one of the good things about Toy Story 4 being, I don't want to say delayed, but being moved back into the schedule to follow Guns N' Roses, and obviously Guns N' Roses is a big success for Jersey Jet Pinball, sold probably more than they were expecting.
With $30 million dollars worth of sales on day one, I think we can say Toy Story 4 is a success as well.
Well, just to clarify, that's $30 million worth of orders.
Right.
Doesn't mean we've actually got $30 million worth of income at this point, because most of that will be from distributors, but which will all have their own arrangements. But yes, it's certainly a huge sales coup for Jersey Jet Pinball. Congratulations to them on that. But what I was saying was, with Toy Story 4 being moved back in the schedule, it meant that the software team had a lot more time to work on the game, and when it came out on the 14th of June, I think we can say that it was almost complete code in that game.
Right. Yeah, we've seen a few code updates since then, but basically
we have, but they're very minor.
Yes. So. And,
it was a fully functioning, fully featured game when it was announced, and with 400 or so units in stock, ready to ship or about to ship, which is basically where Jack has said over the years he wants to be. To be at that point where he's got games for sale straight away, ready to ship with full code. Right. So congratulations, they did it. I mean, Jack and Steve were at the Pintastic show just before our podcast, actually, last weekend, where they held a very, very good seminar, and that will be available a bit later on the Pintastic New England YouTube channel, along with all the other seminars that held over the Pintastic, and there were a lot of them, and from the topics, they certainly seem to be particularly interesting subjects. The people like Roger Sharp taking part, talking about how the pinball industry might have been different had Williams not quit it. And there's also Dave Fix, I think, American Pinball was there as well. So talking about what's happening at the company there and what's happening with Ryan and the Spinball game from and the license issues which we talked about before with him. So keep an eye on YouTube and the Pintastic New England channel there. I don't think there's anything much there at the moment. I know Todd Tuckey has released the presentation he put together for that show, so you can catch up on his latest news. Right. But there will be more coming.
Right. So, and closing off on the Toy Story 4 topic, both Martin and I wrote our articles on the reveal of Toy Story 4. Actually, this time I was able to publish way ahead before Martin because you were on holiday.
It wasn't great timing for me. It was the announcement came on the day of my partner's birthday. So we were actually away. Well, thank you. We had a lovely time, and we were We were, I'm trying to remember exactly where we were in Northumberland on the English-Scottish
nobody knows
border.
where that is. Doesn't matter.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I even know where it is, to be honest, and I've been there.
So,
But it was lovely, and we did a lot of cycling, a lot of walking, and on the very day that the announcement took place, we were cycling around a huge lake there in beautiful, glorious, bright sunshine, nice warm weather, and it's kind of hard to think. I really wish I was back at my desk, sat in front of my computer, waiting for the announcement of Toy Story 4, or I could be here in the forest on this lovely track, sitting outside, drinking a nice cold cider in the bright sunshine and listening to the birds.
Right. So anyway, what I was trying to say,
well.
if you want to read the articles that were published on the Pinball News and Pinball Magazine website, then either go to pinball-magazine.com or go to pinballnews.com, where you find lots of pictures and all the details about the game. So if you want to take a closer look, that's where you should go. And of course, don't forget the Jersey Jack Pinball Facebook page and other social media outlets that they are using for more info on the game.
Yeah, although I think you and I actually have more in the way of marketing materials on in our reports than the Jersey Jack website does, because I noticed that once a game is sold out on the Jersey Jack website, you can't click on it anymore. You can't get any details of that game. You can't look at the flyer. You can't look at what the price was. You can't see what features are on the collector edition or the limited edition, or if they had them on the standard edition. Which seems a kind of a shame, because it's good reference material.
Right.
But
so, speaking of promotional materials, I do have an interesting tidbit of news for those who collect pinball flyers. Of course, there are several flyers available in digital format for Toy Story 4, but Jersey Jack didn't print any of them. And so far it seems like they don't have to. Neither did they for Guns N' Roses, but the Dutch Pinball Association has decided to include a Toy Story 4 flyer with their Spinner magazine, the upcoming issue that should be. And John Paul de Win, who is the art director of Jersey Jack and in charge of their LCD animations and all that kind of stuff, was kind enough to actually adapt the original design of the limited edition flyer for the in the Netherlands used A4 paper format. So it's a slightly modified flyer to fit that paper size. Thank you, Jean-Paul, for that. And
does it also have the NFV logo on it?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
It will have the the Dutch Pinball Association logo on there as well, so it's easily identifiable as such. So if there are any flyer collectors, that's probably a flyer that you want to be looking for.
Could well be the only physical flyer for that game.
Right. So,
unless somebody decides to print it themselves.
If people are interested, send me an email, editor@pinball-magazine.com, and I'll look into what I can do.
Well, and just to add to that, there are 3 versions of the flyer. There's the collector edition, there's the limited edition, and there's the joint version with both models featured.
Right. So but those are
and they're double-sided as well.
Yes, and technically that's the original flyers. There's 3 original flyers, and now there's a 4th one with a different size for the limited edition.
Yes. Okay. Great. Okay. As you mentioned, there've been a couple of code updates for Toy Story 4 since it came out. I think it came out pretty much with version 1.04 on it on all boxed machines. Since when there's been 105, 106, and 107. All released during the month of June.
And probably during our podcast, 108.
You're probably right. Yeah, at least 108. Yeah, it might jump straight to 110. You never know. But we always used to say that once it reached version 1, it's fully featured. Well, we're way above that already at release. So that sort of underlines what I was saying about having complete code at launch time.
Right.
So those updates, I say, just feature changes and a few bug fixes, not much.
I'm just curious whether, of course, people have played the game and there's everybody has opinions, which we won't get into. But I'm just curious whether Jersey Jack will take some of those opinions and maybe improve the game further, considering like certain comments are being made a lot by some people, and maybe there's some areas where the game can be upgraded to be enjoyed more without it costing too much.
Do you want to expand on the sort of areas you talked about?
Apparently the audio company, I've heard several people complain about that the audio of the game isn't anything that is particularly wowing them. The main theme is mostly playing all the time, and the sound effect sounds like a slot machine. That's not a nice compliment, I suppose. But those are things that could easily be adjusted in software. So if another sound package becomes available, that might actually benefit the game. But that's just pure speculation on my end. I'm just wondering if they would be taking something like that into consideration.
Yeah, it's sort of about sound. I mean, that was quite unusual. I think that was one of the differences between the collector edition and the limited edition, was that there were additional call-outs by the Bo Peep character for the collector's edition, which are not available in the limited edition. Seems, I don't know, it seems like something which probably could be added by people who knew what they were doing, if they cared that much about it. They can obviously download the software from the Jersey Jack Pinball website. It's also actually worth mentioning that if you did get one of the very first release games on version, I think it was 104, then that did not include the ability to update the game over Wi-Fi. So your very first update has to be done with a USB stick. And that then adds the ability, and beyond that, you can then get automatic updates or manual updates over Wi-Fi, and you won't need a USB stick after that. But that was surprised me. I thought Wi-Fi updating would be built in from the very start, but apparently it came a bit later. So there you go.
Well, okay. I think we really covered everything there is to say about the game at this point, aside from people's opinions. Best is to play the game yourself, and the good news is there's already plenty on location, so you might not have to travel that far to find one. So go out and play the game and form your own opinion.
Oh, who's that?
Hi guys.
Oh, we're joined in person on the PINcast by Gary Flower. Hello, Gary.
Hi there. I've just got to pop down to the shop. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
Take care.
Right. So we'll have Gary joining us a bit later. Right, so let's move on from the events at Jersey Jack Pinball and see what's happening at their neighbour, Stern Pinball. And there has been a new game. I'll say it's an announcement, more of a sort of leak, really. And it's not from Stern themselves either.
No.
It's, can you give us some details of that?
Well, I tried to look into it. It was rather surprising to a lot of people. The game is called Escape from the Megaverse. And it appears to be a project by the Ape Community project, featuring 100 bored apes, mutants, BAKC dogs, and codas. If that rings any bells with you.
Obviously rings a bell with you. I just heard it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was.
You've been outbid.
No. I got that. I got that auction. I won that. So.
Oh, congratulations! Good.
But apparently there was a special launch party, which I think was June the 20th, which was at a bar in New York, and then a few days later the game was also available a couple of days at Ape Fest. I think that lasted for 4 days.
Whatever that is.
I think it was positioned at the OX Polygon Lounge. It apparently contains an NFC dispenser.
We don't know what that is, do we?
No, apparently the game
let's own up and say we don't understand
right.
virtual currencies.
Yes, but apparently it's giving out some sort of a virtual token or coin or something digital.
Not an NFT, which we do understand.
Yes, but in a similar fashion, I suppose.
Yeah.
And
it could be a code or a QR code or some kind of code that on the screen
like that you scan on your phone and then you collect it. Yeah.
There doesn't appear to be any kind of physical dispenser, which I suppose would tie in with it being a virtual project.
Now about the game itself, it appears to be a re-theme of the layouts that we have seen on previous games, such as the Spider-Man Home Edition, the Star Wars pin model, Supreme, and then there was the heavy metal game. So this appears to be the 5th iteration of that layout, but with complete new artwork. No word on who.
But also interestingly, it has a full display, full LCD display.
Yes,
which is not something we've seen before on these games.
No,
they always used to have either a smaller display or an LED display. So this is almost like a standard speaker panel or display panel.
Yes,
on the game.
And so the layout is similar, I would say, to the heavy metal one, which leads me to believe, also based on what I found on Twitter on this project, that the game is not going to be sold by Stern themselves, but rather through this Bored Ape community, which is on Twitter, and apparently is something that's happening in New York City. I hadn't heard of it before.
When I was looking into it, it said it was made by Stern, but for Replay Labs in Tampa, in Florida. And so whether they're the distributors for the game on behalf of the Ape project, I don't know. And Stern haven't made any announcement about it at all, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah,
so this is kind of
no announcement from Stern in that area, although Wei-Sun Cheng was available at the launch event, or one of the events where the game was being showcased. So far, as we know, there is only one game available, and it looks like on that the website that I was able to find, you can subscribe to a newsletter, and that will give you information on availability and pricing of the game and so on. So it appears to be a prototype to generate interest and see how many people would be interested in buying such a game, which sort of is similar to the heavy metal game, where they're basically testing the water, how many people would be interested in buying one before actually building them.
Yeah. As you say, no details on price or availability, but I think the general opinion is it's going to be a bijou or bespoke project, and it's if it is going to become available, it's not going to be cheap. But if you do want to find out more, and as Jonathan mentioned, you can sign up for an update by going to gm.megaversepinball.com/early, and I think that will get you there. If you just go to megaversepinball.com, nothing. Okay, it exists, but there's no page there, so you won't get details. You have to go gm.megaversepinball.com/early, and then you'll be able to sign up for the updates.
So, and interestingly, I just addressed flyer collectors. There appears to be a paper flyer for this game, which was distributed at Ape Fest. So that could be a sought much sought after item after all. Is it correct English?
Okay. Yeah, well, works for me.
Yeah,
that's close enough.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay, good. Sorry, it's not my native language, people. But,
No. Not
anyway.
mine. But yes, it's certainly got some very, very nice stylized artwork on it. No idea what Megaverse is, but so if you Google it, you'll find some details of all the various creatures which seem to inhabit it, including very heavy on apes and dogs.
Yeah, apes and skinless apes and
Sounds scary, but it looks nice anyway. If you're into
I'm
that
curious
kind
how the code developed for that game. If it's the same or is it changed or whatever. So, but congratulations on the Bored Ape community and the entire project team behind this game.
Absolutely, and more congratulations are due to 3 people who have been taken on by Stern Pinball as part of their team. So we have 2 members of the Chicago Bells and Chimes Pinball organization. We have Rebecca Hinsdale, who has joined Stern Pinball as customer service and sales manager for parts and accessories and merchandise. So very much a customer-facing role.
So what happened to Debbie?
What happened to Debbie? Well, isn't that the question that's on everyone's lips?
I suppose so.
I guess we may find out. We have to get Gary on Gary Stern, of course, that is, to tell us. Further congratulations to Taylor Bancroft, who has been taken on as
a technical producer for the
for
Insider Connected brand or
liaison between internal and external development teams. So there you go. So if you were looking to develop some kind of interface or use the Insider Connected API to do some cunning stuff with your games, then I think Taylor is the one to speak to. And finally, we can also send out congratulations to Alexa Sievert, who is the new logistics manager, working with Shelley Sachs as well. And we have to hope they don't have any Amazon hardware around the place and people calling out, "Hey Alexa," to her, because it could get very confusing. But so anyway, apparently she's got exceptional experience in the coin-op industry, having worked at Namco and Bandai Namco and Speedy's One Pair Repair Shop service at Namco. So congratulations to the 3 of them on their new roles at Stern Pinball.
Right. Okay. So was that all the news from Stern Pinball, or?
Oh no, there's lots more. Because this is the month when Stern launched a new feature for their Insider Connected. Well, a couple of new features actually, I suppose. One of them is that they've added the leaderboard functionality to all professional accounts. That means that if you are signed up to their subscription service for Insider Connected, which is the one where you pay money in order to have it at your location.
Pay money?
Then you can set up your own location-based or event-based leaderboards. Well, we've seen this happen at various shows, trade shows and collector shows around the country and around the world, in fact, where you go to a show and there'll be a leaderboard just for that one show and the game's played there. Well, you can do the same kind of thing,
which is basically
your location,
displayed on a large
or
LCD. Yes.
Or it's probably on their website as well, if you want to go and check it on your phone. I don't know if it's on the app yet. I don't know if they've actually even got an app yet, but they're certainly planning to. And the other thing they've added now is they've done the very first of the worldwide leaderboards, which is for all Insider Connected games of a particular title. So you can challenge, or you can try and get your name on the leaderboard for the whole world on, at the moment, Godzilla. That was the launch title. So it's obviously a bit, suspect because they're all going to be set up differently. But if you want to have a go at playing a Godzilla pinball machine with your entirely connected account, if you log in first and then play your game, you will then be your score will be added to the global leaderboard, and you can see what kind of scores you have to beat.
Right. Okay. So, and I believe you just set up a game at the show to incorporate Insider Connected. How was your experience with that?
It was mixed. First of all, it was in a bar, so there'd be plenty of mixers there. But it was okay, except that the password for this particular Wi-Fi in the location is quite long. It's like 20 characters long, and it's a mix of uppercase, lowercase numbers. So it's a pain to navigate around the screen. It would be much better if you could just plug a keyboard in, to be honest, and type the code in. But also, it says on the screen that you're trying to enter this code, press the feature button on the log bar, and it toggles between lowercase and uppercase. Well, on Rush, it doesn't. I can tell you that. So you actually have to keep going over to the toggle between upper and lowercase every time you want to go between those two. And if every other letter is alternating between uppercase and lowercase, it's a pain to have to do that. So it took the best part of 5 minutes, which should have taken like 20 seconds, really. Right. Okay. But if they can get that feature working, it would have been a lot quicker. Fortunately, though, once I put it in, it seemed to connect fine, and did the test to check the network, and it seemed to work fine. And then a colleague of mine scanned the QR code, which you can get out of it, to set up another machine with the same settings, the same network settings. He tried to do it on Godzilla, and it didn't work. It wouldn't recognise the QR code. So maybe that was because of the way his camera was adjusted on his phone. Maybe it was a bit sort of burnt out or blurry or whatever, but it didn't quite work as easy as it should have been. So he had to type the code in the same way I did. So anyway, we are now very familiar. Okay. Yeah, we're now very familiar with how you go in uppercase and lowercase on Stone Insider Connect. But they are now set up, and it's been a nice feature, I think, for the weekend. A nice extra feature for everybody who comes along and plays. Right.
Okay. Now, speaking of Insider Connected, I believe upgrade kits are available in the Stern web shop.
Yeah, previously only from distributors, I think, but now you can order them directly yourself.
Right, and these are the kits that if your game is not already equipped with Stern Insider Connected, then you can. These are the kits that you put in yourself to connect your game to the
replacement
aprons. Really. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Yes, you can order those. Now we were talking about Godzilla just now. There's been a new version of code for that, which actually had quite a nice new feature: the Oxygen Destroyer outlane ball save opportunity, which is available on the last ball. Yeah, it's a bit like the on Bat Night 2000, where you have like last chance option, and it's seen on other games as well, where if the ball drains down the outlane, then you have the opportunity. It's relaunched, and you have to make a particular shot within 12 seconds. In this case, you have to shoot it through the building in order to save the game and carry on playing. If you don't do that, then the flippers die and the ball drains, and it really is game over. But make that shot and pressure shot, and you can carry on playing. So yeah, nice feature, and of course there's some other bug fixes and a few feature adjustments as well in version 0.97 of Godzilla, which was released on the 23rd of June.
Right. Okay. So Stern has been in attendance of a couple of pinball shows as well, but also at the Bowl Expo in Las Vegas, which was held June 29th and 30th. And they were actually located in the booth of Moss Distributing. Now, the interesting thing is, at least I think it's interesting, pinball machines, especially in America, used to be frequently found in bowling alleys, which I think is this expo is all about. So it's an interesting development to see that Stern is actually trying to get back into bowling alleys, I suppose. And it's curious. I'm curious to see if that effort will pay off. But it's definitely worth mentioning that they attended this international bowl expo.
Bowling seems to be one of those pastimes which, although it's often you often think it's something that's about to die. Having been overtaken by things like Wii bowling and things like that. They still seem to hang in there and seem to be great places for families to go and, or even youngsters to hang out and spend their time in a constructive way. So I think it makes sense for that to be a good pinball location as well. Certainly, I've been to a few bowling places where pinball is at least as popular as the bowling.
Right. So, and at the Bowl Expo, Stern took the Mandalorian and Deadpool pinball machines with them to showcase, which, if I'm not mistaken, are also games that were on the line the past month. So, well, I won't get into any delays with production on current titles, but at least Mandalorian and Deadpool have been built, and if you have one on order, you probably can expect it soon. So.
Good news. Okay, I think that's everything from Stern Pinball for the month of June. Yeah. Unless I'm mistaken, in which case let's move on to well, we've spoken about game releases. Let's talk about a game which is having probably the slowest or the softest release we've seen, really, which is Homepin's upcoming title for which is This Is Spinal Tap. Right. Now we've talked about it. We've seen various bits of it over the previous months, and I almost want to say years, but certainly months. And it still hasn't officially launched yet. But the good news is that we do actually have a date when it is going to be officially launched, and that is on the 17th and 18th of September at Club Macquarie in Argenton in Newcastle in Australia. And that will be announced by Highway Entertainment. Yeah, Highway Entertainment, who are working in conjunction with Homepin Factory to launch the game. Now, Homepin have said that they are not going to be doing the promotional work for this. They are the manufacturer. They are reliant on their distributors to actually put together promotional events and launch events. And so that's exactly what Highway Entertainment are doing. And I think we mentioned last month that this is SpinalTapPinball.com was a website or even a company, I think, set up by Highway Entertainment, Spinal Tap Pinball, to market and sell. This is Spinal Tap from Homepin. So now we know when it's going to be officially launched, and that'll be the 11th Pinfest tournament. So if you're lucky enough to be in Newcastle in 17th and 18th of September, you'll have a chance to play it.
Right. So I did reach out to Mike Kalinowski, the owner of Homepin, to see if there's any news that he could comment on. He was very brief in his answer, and he basically said, we're building away and expect to ship out 2 games for Newcastle Pinfest within a week or so.
Okay, that's from Taiwan. Okay.
Yes, and I assume they are being shipped by boat, so that's a couple of weeks that they will be traveling overseas to reach Australia mainland, and then being transported to Newcastle, I suppose. So who knows? You might even see images of the game prior to that once the distributor gets their hands on them. So.
Yeah, there needs to be somewhere in those intervening weeks until we reach the 17th of September. So, Highway Entertainment seems to be the place to keep an eye on over the next couple of months.
Yeah, in the meantime, well, there were a couple of updates on the production of the games on the Home Pin Factory social media channel, which saw a bunch of playfields, blank playfields with print on them for the underside, and
I thought it was quite revealing.
Well, some other posts of people assembling cabinets or putting decals on cabinets and so on. So it's they're working on it, and hopefully it will be a fun game.
Looking at the underside of the playfield, I think I could do a little bit of investigation on exactly what's going to be in the game, or at least some of the things that are going to be in the game. Obviously, there is a volume control which goes up to 10, and then you can turn it up to 11, right in the middle, but in the sort of like supercharger style position from Getaway.
Yeah, which sort of ruins the joke, but okay.
Well, I don't know. I think we're all in on it by now. There is a Subway as well, so you can, not Subway, you can buy a bread sandwich, but somewhere the ball can disappear underneath the playfield and reappear at another point. There is a ramp, and we seem to have a motor in order to lift it up, so you can shoot underneath it as well. It looks like it's a 2-flippered game rather than 3 or 4. And although we can't see whether there's an upper playfield on it or not, I believe there is an upper playfield of some kind. At least that's where there's an upper stage kind of area where the drums are positioned.
Yeah, not sure the ball can access that stage, but
but it would make sense if the ball goes up past it for it to do something when it's up there. And look at the rollover lanes, both for the top rollovers and the in-lane, out-lanes. It looks like they use opto switches for those. So the ones which we've seen before in other manufacturers' games, where you have an LED that shines, and when the ball rolls over it, it reflects it back into the receiver. So rather than being physical switches, they are they're optical switches. So that's an interesting little feature of that, and that seems to be something that they're using throughout the game. So it should be pretty reliable, unless they get dirty, of course. But there's a lot more to come over on that.
Of intensive playing.
It should be easy to clean anyway, and the ball won't get stuck on a rollover wire or anything like that. So makes sense from that point of view. Yeah. Okay, so more details to be revealed anyway, and I also noticed. Glad to point out, I think I pointed that out last time, that they did finally get the Union Jack flag right, or correct on the cabinet.
Okay. And that's your mic dropping.
We had that is my microphone falling off the little stand, so I apologise for that. Yes, it was they were missing the diagonal stripes on it before, and now they have been added. So it's good to see it correct.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Moving on to, I suppose, let's see what happens in the land of Deep-Root Pinball.
Yes. Well, not much, I'm afraid, is the answer to that. The only thing really I think has happened in the past month is that the company who's managing the bankruptcy of the Deep-Root group of companies, which is I don't know, it's a management company. They have applied for their expenses to be paid, which amounted to $255,000, and that's been granted by the court. So that's been taken out of the money that's been recovered so far from the sale of the life insurance policies and all the equipment that was in the Deep-Root Pinball factories in San Antonio. So. Yep, they've got their money. It's a shame that a lot of other people won't, but they are busy working away on recovering as much as they can. So, good luck to them. And that's the only news I've got so far from Deep-Root Pinball's story this month.
Right, from one startup company that didn't make it over to another startup company that hopefully will make it. Pinball Adventures.
Oh. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we've had some. Well, it's been a long story. It's been a long and a slow progress for their very first title.
They're really battling with home pin to see who can do the slowest reveal, I suppose.
Yeah, although I suppose neither company have actually put their games up for sale yet. So I suppose you have to give them credit for that. But Punny Factory from Pinball Adventures, they've been showing bits and pieces over the past, I will say years now, because it is years. And since we've been following it, from the early design days at Team Pinball in Cardiff to what Andrew's been doing in Vancouver with actually putting the games together and getting the parts in. So the latest news is he's been showing some more display animations on their Instagram feed. He said the code is done, but when I looked at it, there was various bits of text that were kind of running off the side of the display, or very badly laid out. Like the kerning on the text looked really bad, and the extra ball looked like it had no space between the extra and ball, but had spaces between other characters. So it looked weird. Player 1, like, was running off the side, it just said layer 1. So I don't know whether that's a code issue or whether that's a positioning of the monitor within the back glass. But right. You would have thought that if you're doing the display work, you would allow a certain amount of latitude on where you position things, not put anything right up to the very edge, because then it's asking you for trouble. So anyway, maybe the code is done, maybe in the sense that all the rules and features are added, but maybe some of the display artwork needs a little tweak, put it that way. Now he did also say that they will be making, his word, they will be making 120 Punny Factory machines, which is quite a bold claim, but I took that to mean they will be making up to 120 Punny Factory machines.
Right.
They, because I haven't actually made any of them yet, so it's early days to say that, and I don't think I've been taking any orders either. So we have to see what comes in. But it does. He showed some pictures of some metal powder coated parts, which had come back from the powder coating company, and they seem to include a very large frame which fits on the bottom of the playfield, sort of side rails, and also a frame for mounting like circuit boards or other mechs onto. It looked very solid, very robust, and it's powder coated as well, so it should look very attractive. So good work on the detail there.
Yeah, and you little Sherlock Holmes that you are, you also discovered a new title, which is actually a title that was advertised already earlier on, but apparently the name changed.
Yeah, one of his earlier titles. I don't want to say launch because I don't actually launched anything yet. But one of the announced titles that he has on his website alongside Elements and Sushi something or other was one called That's Whack, which always seemed a bit of a strange title and didn't really tell you very much about what the game was about. Well, that seems to have disappeared and been replaced by a game called Volts Electric, VOLTZ Electric, which on their website it's kind of almost entirely replaced, but the page title still says That's Whack. So that's obviously what used to be there, and so far it's a bit unclear exactly what it's about, but some kind of electric company. Because we haven't had a game about an electric company for a while, have we?
Well, we have a Punny Factory, so one factory, electric company. I do sense a pattern, I suppose.
Well, the slightly strange thing here, and it's something we've seen before on his promotional material, is that it seems to have a bunch of celebrity impersonated characters in the game, including people like Rod Sterling, Doc Brown from Back to the Future, Captain Kirk, Jay Leno, and the Dude from The Big Lebowski. Each one of those on the website has a little audio clip underneath which you can click on and hear some really not very good impersonation voices. on the website. I'll just put it out here because I know that Andrew sometimes listens to what we have to say, but I will mention that the website is unprotected in that you can type in the URL of various directories on his website and look at all the files that are within it,
Yeah,
whether they are used or not.
I've done plenty of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there, different versions. Some of it is on the website, some of it's not on the website. It might be development stuff. But I'd say most websites would have that. If you try and just go to a directory, it would either give you a not allowed, or would take you to a some kind of holding page or information page.
Everybody is a web designer.
No, not quite. But that's kind of fairly basic stuff. So it's probably worth protecting that if you're listening, Andrew, to stop people poking around your website and pulling out various assets from your artwork, which could be used in unflattering ways. So we don't want that. We want to let people know that.
But then again, we still want to be able to access your files. So please give us the code to log in properly.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, we already downloaded everything already, so we already got that. No, we haven't really. No. So yes. We don't know. We still haven't got an exact detail of when the games are going to be ready, but
or in what way, or whether they will be launched at a pinball show or something like that. We have really.
Well, Andrew did say that they'd be manufacturing some this weekend, so I don't know. I don't know who they are, or whether he's got a manufacturing team, a company to make it for a contract manufacturer, or what the deal is. But so far, nothing is available for sale, and since it is, or any more details of the games, we will let you know right here.
Right. Okay. So, moving back to America, to the Chicago area, Chicago Gaming are apparently looking for a new accountant. Now, obviously, you need an accountant to make sure that you pay your people so you can manufacture pinball machines and so on. So. I'm not sure whether you want me to go over all the qualifications that someone needs to apply.
No, I don't think so. I think if you are interested, then email your resume and your contact details to Cathy, Cathy, at chicago-gaming.com, and you can find more information about that, I'm sure, if you just contact Cathy. But yes, certainly they are looking for a new accountant, and it's an on-site full-time position, 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. But they are open to people who need flexibility in their schedules. So it's if you're an accountant and certainly interested in gaming and pinball, maybe Chicago Gaming is the place for you.
If only I would be living in Chicago.
And an accountant.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, well, you're almost made for the job. Yes, apart from those two minor features. Okay, talking about making pinball, Pinball Brothers, we will return to them. They are continuing to make their Alien games. On a post on Facebook, they said, many have been wondering about our progress. Said that we're about to crack the 500 mark, so 500 machines made, for standard versions and limited versions combined. So that's nearly 500 Pinball Brother Alien games out in the wild.
Which is actually quite an accomplishment, I have to say, for a small company as they are. And congratulations to Pedretti Gaming as well, who are building these games.
Yeah. The Pinball Brothers say they're sending out between 15 and 20 games a week. So I guess they've been ramping up to that kind of level, because we've been making them. I don't know, been making them more than 25 weeks, I'd have thought. So I guess they started off slow, and now they're up to 20 games a week. So
I can only hope for certain companies to get to that level.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, well, even one a week would be good for some at the moment. So anyway, congratulations, Pinball Brothers, on reaching the 500 mark for their Alien games, and we look forward to seeing many more out there, and more titles as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, And now we enter a, maybe we should record a no news tune.
I think we should have a sting, shouldn't we? We should play.
Yeah.
So everybody go.
No, that's not fair. No. But there's quite a few companies that have did not report any news, but that doesn't mean that's a bad thing, because as far as we can see, they're all building games.
Yeah, as they're all too busy building them in order to report any additional news.
Yeah.
So that would be Spooky Pinball.
Yeah. And
American Pinball.
right.
Dutch Pinball, even your
business as usual. Building games, nothing special to report.
Yeah.
Multimorphic, building away on Weird Al. And
and full games, full machines as well.
Yes, and Haggis Pinball in Australia.
Yeah, with Fathom Revisited. So they've all got games that they're all building, and they're just busy doing it. So, all power to you guys. Keep going, and we don't need any news until you've got something to announce. So just keep the business going.
Right. So, and then there's the other news section. Other news.
Yeah, we definitely need some audio talent on this show, don't we? Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there any other news?
Well, you already mentioned that the seminars from Pintastic should become available on the Pintastic New England YouTube channel.
Yeah,
which should include Jersey Jack and Steve Ritchie, American Pinball, Roger Sharp, and more. There's an interesting announcement made on Pinside by John Greatwich, who we know as a supplier or manufacturer for playfields and backglasses.
Backglasses,
mostly for Stern Electronic games that he used to do. So he's certainly known in the pinball world and capable of producing goods, if you want to call it that. He's been quite vocal on the Deep Root drama, if you want to call it.
Yeah, that's true.
But basically, he indicated that he's looking for an investor to get a prototype built for a licensed themed pinball machine that he has either in his head or already partly developed but not built yet. And apparently, once the prototype is built, it should be you could either interest a manufacturing party to take it into production or manufacture it yourself. And with the current pinball prices, that could be interesting for some parties, I suppose, as people are willing to pay a lot of money. But so far, the response on his announcement, so to speak, is far from hopeful, I would say.
Yeah, there's no detail of what this supposed license is. No detail on how progressed the design is either yet, and no information about a projected way of. Well, he's talking about selling it to an existing manufacturer as the only way, but also says if that doesn't happen, then the whole thing dies. So doesn't sound too encouraging, but I don't know.
At Pintastic, he apparently talked to David Fix of American Pinball as well as to Jack Warneri of Jersey Jack Pinball. So who knows? Something might happen.
Yeah, I really like John. I've known John for many years, and we
can highly recommend
many shows together.
I can highly recommend drinking a beer with John.
Oh, I've done that plenty of times. Yes, thinking of
you will have a great time. Absolutely.
Yeah. I know John sort of had a hard time of things recently with the personal bankruptcy and retiring from his work as well. But he says this has now given him the opportunity to focus entirely on doing what he really likes doing, which is creating pinball stuff. So he's hugely enthusiastic. He is actually very knowledgeable. He doesn't come across that way unless you know him pretty well, I would say. But he does know what he's talking about, and he's produced some great products in the past. And he's even when he ran into trouble and had some outstanding orders for products, he got them all fulfilled by whoever took over the rights to his projects. So I don't think anybody's lost out from his work, and a lot of great games have been salvaged from him as well. Been saved from being thrown in the dumpster by getting new play fields, new ink printing techniques, direct to wood, I should say.
Right. Yeah.
Over the years as well. So I vouch for John as a very nice guy and a very knowledgeable guy and hugely enthusiastic, and somebody who tends to follow through on what they say they're going to do.
Right. So, okay, then moving on, two more items, I suppose. First, the Dutch Pinball Open Expo has been announced for this year, and it will be held the second weekend, I should say, of November, at the Dutch Pinball Museum in Rotterdam, the Netherlands.
Yes, it's being expanded, isn't it? From its current size, they're adding some extra floors to put the new games in. Yes, which is exciting news. I've got my hotel room booked. I've got my flight booked. So I'm planning to be there.
Should be a great show, and I should be reaching out to some pinball industry VIPs, let's call them that, people that.
I'll stand by and wait for you to be in touch, then.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So, and
speaking of which, are we going to do our quiz there? Do you think?
Oh, I'm positive that we will. Yes.
Okay. So look forward to the. So you think you know pinball quiz at that prize quiz at that Dutch Pinball Open Expo in November in Dutch Pinball Museum in Rotterdam.
Yes, and prior to that, Pinball Expo is also taking place in Schomburg, and Rob Burke recently visited the Netherlands, also the Dutch Pinball Museum, and he's shifting gears upwards, I would say, into the promotion of Pinball Expo. Hopefully, I will be able to attend this year, and just indicating that we're likely to see more Pinball Expo teasers and so on in the coming months.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have Rob on our PINcast here to give us the latest updates on what people can expect who want to go to the 38th annual show this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
longest running pinball show on Earth.
Yeah, well, we both plan to be there, and what's going to happen there, we don't quite know yet, but we will find out more and bring you all the details as soon as we know them.
I think there will be a Stern factory tour that's already been confirmed, and I was actually hoping
one this year.
I was actually hoping that some other manufacturer might be doing tours as well, but no confirmation on that yet, or maybe just speculation on my end. So, but anyway,
I thought that American Pinball were doing a factory tour on the Wednesday. Is it before the first day of the show? I thought
I don't know.
I thought I read that somewhere.
Okay, well, we'll have to look into that, see if there's any truth to that. So
yeah, I mean, all these things are liable to change anyway, up until we actually get to the point where things are confirmed by Rob and his team. I'm trying to reach out to David Fix to get some more details on that as well, because I don't know what's happening about seminars, streaming, and what's going to be available and who's doing what, but we'll try and get that sorted out over the coming months, and we'll let you know as soon as we know.
So at least, that's for the end of the year. Two big shows coming up. One in Europe, one in the Chicago area, Schaumburg to be more precise. So if you're
Exciting
able
times.
to attend, then make sure to attend.
Yep, and because
then-
we will be there.
Yeah, well, also, yeah, and reporting from there as well.
That's right.
So,
And no doubt bring you some bonus interviews as well from some of the important people behind the industry. So
right.
yeah, it benefits everyone.
Right. So I suppose that rounds it up for this episode of our monthly review of all the important things in the pinball industry.
I'm sorry Gary didn't come back. He did say he was going to be here, but before the end of the show, he had some interesting and important news to bring us. But unfortunately, I don't know where he's got to. He isn't here quite yet. I don't know what happened, but the 1 month we actually have him here in person, and he disappears and doesn't come back. But oh well, never mind. Next time.
Oh, yeah. So. On behalf of me, Jonathan Joosten, the editor of Pinball Magazine, I'm saying goodbye, and I hope to talk to you again next month.
And from me, Martin Ayub, the editor of Pinball News, we will both be back next month to the start of August to look back on the events in the pinball world of July 2022. But for this look back of June, we wish you a very goodbye and have a great month.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Can you let me in? I've left my key in the room. Can you let me in?